My stepmom. So the shortest version of my history is that I was at Sutter in 1998, or started it in 98. I started what was IPS, the first instantiation of SCC in 2006 when I was working for Sutter Connect, and that was with GE products. So Sutter Connect used IDX, which got bought by GE. They used the GE EMR, and we deployed that. So Dr. Chang at Midtown, Dr. Tamori, there's a number of kind of original folks that when they transitioned to Epic in 2012-ish, 11, 12, some of those practices moved over. So I did that, and then I moved over and started working with the state on the EHR incentive program. So EHR, where if you adopted technology and you followed the rules and submitted the data, you got money back for implementing technology.
From the state?
From the state, which was through the feds. So there's about, I think before I left working with DHCS, we paid out about $500 million in incentive funds. And then I was at Davis running their interop and innovation group. So we did a lot of stuff with like our remote patient monitoring, kind of if you're familiar with the Sutter Sync, it's very similar to the Sutter Sync. Come on in.
So like tech or?
Yeah, tech.
Do you need me at all? No.
Unless you have anything you'd like to say, do you have anything profound?
No.
Okay.
No, fine. Do you need anything from him? Like,
I need him. I just need
as
him.
he is,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, is there something that he should do? I don't know.
I
Do you
just
want him to
wanna make
dance? Like, is this
sure.
like?
I just want to make
She's
sure
my
you-
PR person.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
didn't get
would have
that.
just said it was you and not your son. I mean,
No.
that's PR enough. Put that behind
Our
you.
son. Our son. So tech.
So I've been working in IT, doing system implementation, interoperability, technology.
Sounds like a little lobbying
for
as
a
well.
long time. Not quite lobbying as much as just trying to get standards implemented. So for your practice, just like Quest and LabCorp, right? When we first started, getting those integrations was difficult. Working with HL7 and kind of nationally, I was part of kind of the original implementation of Care Everywhere, so you can get data from other sites and things like that. So, really just trying to get systems connected and get the right information so that when you got a patient in front of you, you have what you need. Now, it doesn't always work as well as it should, so that's kind of the next instantiation of Epic to Epic works pretty well, but imaging doesn't work great yet, and then Epic to non-Epic is pretty spotty on patient identity. So I'm doing some work nationally with like TEPCA. Anyway, it's
going.
Yeah, I've been working in health IT since the 90s, working with independent and large physician groups, helping them deploy technology. And so as part of the role coming back with SCC is just we had a lot of old kind of testimonials from Dr. Peabody and Dr. Hopkins from kind of phase one of this implementation. And so we just want to come back and talk to some physicians who are using the platform, seem like, and are willing to get on camera and kind of share your story and really kind of talk about, how it's worked for you. And we'll go through some informal questions and then just kind of have a conversation, and whatever you have questions for me, I'm happy to answer as well.
No, this is your show.
Yeah. So why don't we start? So just share your name, specialty, location, anything besides that your son is an extraordinarily creative rock climber that you'd like to share about you and your practice.
Let's see. Andrew J. Talk, practice internal medicine for over 30 years.
Okay.
About 5 years of that was full-time inpatient hospitalist
Okay.
at Dignity, not at Sutter, back in '97. But so a bulk of my practice is private practice,
Yeah.
solo practice.
And you like to be your own boss.
I do.
Yeah.
I am. I'm too old to change.
How are you to work for? Is what?
I work for.
Well, you work for her, is what you're trying to tell me. Okay.
It's a mom and pop shop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's, part of being a business owner, an entrepreneur, and being a doctor is you have to have the right support. And a lot of times that right support is family. I mean, it's a family business. Medicine is as much as it is a big business in some places.
I think so.
Yeah.
We all grew up with it.
Yeah. So you've been on SCC since 2017. I mean, 2017. So what do you recall about that experience? Like, why did you make that decision? What were you doing before that? kind of talk me through what you remember. Again, that was a while ago.
So I'm very tech pro,
Yeah.
meaning I'm positive on using technology for efficiencies in medicine. When I first launched my private practice, I sought EMR before it was ubiquitous.
Right.
So I was jumping really at an opportunity to be able to join Epic. So Epic was out of reach for me as an individual practitioner from a cost perspective. But when SCC came on board and was willing to give supplementation far as fee as well as scholarships to offset the cost, I jumped on it.
Yeah.
Because one of the main things that I really wanted was connection to a system, the medical community, and I felt that if you don't have Epic, you are sort of on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And the process was, I would say, deliberate, not arduous,
Yeah.
but systematic, very comprehensive, and it got done. I don't really recall it to be painful.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part it was smooth.
Good. Or you black that out, either one.
Yeah, well, I think
any system transition can be challenging, but I think
Yeah.
that you expect that when you expect it, it becomes kind of part of the process, right?
I think the benefits definitely outweigh the kind of the delay or the anticipation of transitioning to
Yeah.
Epic.
What were you doing before? Were you on a different system? Or were you on
Practice
paper?
Partner.
Practice partners. Okay.
Yeah, Energy, Practice Partner.
Yeah.
Energy for the billing software and Practice Partner for the EMR.
Was there anything in particular about those technologies before that was a pain point to change, or just as you outlined, being part of the system and having Epic technology and being connected, with Kaiser and Sutter and Davis, and essentially those three sites were on Epic at the time?
Yeah, so those are fringe benefits
Yeah.
that just really enhance the connectivity to not only the Sutter medical community, but the medical community in
Right.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
So especially the academic community, UCSF, Stanford.
Yeah.
I do use consultants in those arenas as well, even all the way to Mayo
Oh, really?
and both Scottsdale and Minnesota. So I've utilized that connection. But yeah, the downside of having your own system is you have to maintain your own system.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking servers every 5 years, upgrades, cost of maintaining software,
Right.
backup, security. It's very laborious. And for a solo practitioner, I always had to hire out.
Right.
And yeah.
No, that makes sense. It allows you to focus on medicine and running the practice and not being a technologist. I mean, I think that that's where, making those decisions about what systems to have in place are something that allows you to either, there's some practices that there's some docs that like to be kind of the first with the iPhone and do all the upgrades and do all that sort of stuff. And there's some that want to be doctors and let those other things kind of happen in the background. So as part of, joining SCC and leveraging Epic for your day-to-day operations for your practice, like what have you seen as the biggest impact to patient care? Do you think, like, from your perspective in leveraging Epic, access to the data has been impact? Are there things about how Epic works or connectivity? Like, what would you say is having SCC in your practice impacted that care paradigm?
I know what's going on with my patients.
Mm-hmm.
Where they land, what they've had,
Yeah.
as far as diagnostics, especially ER visits or hospitalizations, the interconnectivity with both immunizations and pharmacies. You really have access to real-time change in your patient status, intervention, therapeutics. All those things are fairly real-time, and I think that's so valuable.
Right.
It's valuable for patient care. I practiced 30 years ago,
Yeah.
so I know the pitfalls and the lack of continuity from informatics, from paper charts. So
Right.
it's night and day.
Can you think of like a recent instance, obviously HIPAA privacy aside, not aside, but in context is like something where you had a patient come in, had a problem, or had an immediate visit, and you were aware of it?
Yeah, or typical, or just a recent episode of an ER visit in Lake Tahoe.
Oh yeah.
Acute stroke, stabilized, brought down, and they needed post-hospital follow-up, and I was able to see all the interventions that was done.
Right.
The initial MRI was negative, but by the time that I saw the patient, that temporary symptomology became more permanent.
Yeah.
So I was able to order an MRI, knowing that the initial MRI was negative, and lo and behold, the second MRI that I ordered with that continuity, were able to detect a new stroke that she developed. So that was a clear case of having the initial set of data, and now I'm able to use that to see the change clinically and implement treatment.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a great story, and I'm glad you were able to see that and be able to treat that patient that way. Being in interoperability for a long time, we kind of create these weird use cases. Like I'm in Santa Cruz and I'm surfing and I hit my head. Same sort of thing. Is that the reality is that people travel. We're a very transient population. People like to go to Hawaii and climb giant rocks like your son over there. And things happen when they do travel. And being able to understand what care they receive wherever they are, and then being able to bring it home, and you as their primary care physician taking care of that and being able to act on that information is a really good opportunity to kind of show the value. So speaking of technology, it sounds like you went live recently with a bridge. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I use AI transcription. I've been using just my own.
Right.
And I'm trying to implement the one that Epic is connected to. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think especially in transcription, writing notes.
And I mean, you're like on day 2, right? I mean, this is you walk in.
I've been using.
Oh, you've been using transcription, but like in the clinic visit with the patient, and
Yeah.
they just record voice, and it gives you a note, kind of a formatted note back in the current form.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been doing that before.
A bridge.
A bridge. So
you didn't need to be early on the train. You were already on that bus and knew
yeah.
the value of it. Good.
It's not connected to Epic, so I think that's why I want to try a bridge and see if it's better.
Yeah.
See if it's more connected.
Well, I mean, I think that the idea anyway is that at least you have context. It'll save your voice files. It'll be in the chart. I don't know what your current solution, how that works as far as connecting it to the patient, and then you're probably just taking whatever it generates and kind of cutting and pasting it back into Epic, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm doing that, but even doing that is an incredible asset, because
For sure.
AI is able to learn, and the professional writing that it inputs into the note is clearly a lifesaver.
Yeah, no, I mean, my daughter's a PT, and they hadn't implemented it, and she'd come home on the weekend and be doing charting. I'm like, how do you remember what you were doing? So I know for you all, like working after hours and charting and being able to kind of keep up with those things, sounds like it's made a significant impact. So
yeah, it's not really a time saver, but it really enhances patient interaction.
Gotcha.
And the transfer of information through my staff and even the patient as they have access to their charts. I think it's clinically helpful and beneficial to the patient.
Well, so we've talked about you, we talked about the patient. What about your team, your staff, like billing, scheduling, those sorts of things, patient portal, like what?
Yeah, so everything is in-house. Billing is done by my better half. She's able to implement changes, work with SCC. My staff, they're very proficient. They're of the younger generation, so they're good with messaging and so forth. I do have some guardrails and boundaries of how much access, digital access, the patients have to me directly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a open highway of information is beneficial to anyone. So I do utilize my staff to have some guardrails and buffer some of that interaction so that patients who need to come in are not getting care because they don't want to come in.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a wise. I mean, part of, again, I've been around for this kind of whole transition to EHR and patient portals and messaging, and I think that that's, that paradigm of you have some patients that want to send you a message on every time they have a hangnail, and you have some patients who don't message at all, and trying to manage, like, how do you prioritize that traffic and empowering your staff to kind of help you manage those mailboxes, those messages, and get you that right information is helpful.
yeah, I mean, I'm still old school. If patients call and we could sense from their voice and their interaction the urgency of need,
Yeah.
they take precedence. Messages do not. So for me, I tell my patients, if you are in a situation, to contact us
Yeah.
and get a voice on the phone, and we kind of pride ourselves of being available for that. We don't
Yeah.
have a lot of layers of inefficiency. So somebody's on the
Phone tree. How do I get 0 or hit pound to get somebody to talk to?
Well, not only that, if you have a good majority of a patient being Medicare, they're not going to be tech savvy.
Yeah.
And I think the people who are tech savvy tends to maybe gobble up more of that time. And I just decided to make sure we triage appropriately.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that, again, each practice and physician is comfortable with what methodology works for them, and your patients, what works for them, and again, you don't want them to kind of get out of scope or out of band trying to be tech savvy when a phone call probably is the right thing for them to do, especially to get seen quicker. So as far as SCC goes, we've talked through kind of the things that you're using. How about like post-live support? Like, how do you feel like you're supported by the program? Is there anything that you like about the support? Is there anything if you could change or be different about it that you would like to see changed? Or
I think the technical support is very good. We call the technical support, and they're on it. They enter into your computer and see exactly what the problem is. I would say a great majority of the talent that's giving us help is good. There's some outliers, of course. But the person that really helped us was Trina Hatton, and she's our go-to person. She always answers her emails. We could always leave a message, and her response time is great. So we know that we're not going to be ignored by SCC if we have a contact person, and she takes care of all the things. If she doesn't take care of it herself, she'll give us direction and instructions on how to get the answers to the questions that we have. So having that point person is so helpful.
Yeah, no, Trina's great. I think that's kind of the structure with the account team of having that relationship. One of the things with COVID, as I came back in the team, is there'd been a lot of virtual interaction, right? Not a lot of folks coming out in the field. And sometimes building that relationship is difficult electronically. And so, it's good that you were able to build that relationship before that virtual world happened, understand, what she understands your practice and what your needs are, and able to respond for sure. As far as changes, is there anything from an SCC standpoint that you feel is missing, or that if you could wave a magic wand and it could magically do X, like what would that be?
I think you guys are doing it. I mean, the interoperability is really, really helpful. I would like to see films from Stanford.
Okay.
I know that's being handled. Apparently, UC Davis folks could see our films, but me as an individual, I can't see their films.
Right.
So it would be nice to see that. I'm not a radiologist, but I like to see at least an MRI or chest X-ray, EKGs, things like that. There seems to be a more fluid ability to get labs and results on one table rather than going to care everywhere.
Right.
So that's coming in. I like that.
Yeah.
But it's not it's not complete yet.
Yeah.
So as you guys get those things in, where I could see labs from outside facilities
In the flow sheet.
Right. That would just make it super cool.
Yeah.
So that we can, have real time access to information. There's less waste, and just real time information is really key.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, I'll put my other hat on. I do interop as well, and so it's basically in the Epic parlance, it's called Happy Together.
Mm-hmm.
So Happy Together Labs is just mapping those compendiums from those other sites. So if Stanford's sending you a lab coming through Care, if it's not mapped to our compendium, then it doesn't show up in the flow sheet. I think over time, the plan is to move Sutter to Beaker. And then I think through that process, we'll allow that to happen. Same thing with imaging. We have a couple projects that we're working on it's called Advanced Image Exchange in Epic that'll allow that. We have to implement it on the Sutter side that will allow the view of the Davis images. They won't be diagnostic. The cool thing that Epic's working on is actually in sometime next year, they'll turn on diagnostic image exchange, which will allow you to access. Now, obviously, you need a DICOM viewer and all the other technology around that, but that'll really enhance what you have.
One thing I would like is somehow to do controlled substances on the phone.
Okay.
I do hospice. I'm a medical director of a hospice company, and I'm able to do it on my phone with them.
Yeah.
So I can prescribe controlled substances. So for docs, every click is wasted time, right? So if less, steps in ordering things, that would be really helpful. So things like pre-propagating diagnoses, things that I use all the time.
Right.
If I'm getting a left knee X-ray, it's because he has left knee pain.
Right.
So just put that down. Don't let me type it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that AI would be able to help with all of that, knowing my ordering patterns, prescription patterns. So that would really be helpful down the road. I'm sure you guys are working on it. But yeah, the repetitive motion of same processes, to me, is the inefficiencies that could be cleaned up.
Gotcha. Is there so we got EPCS, is there one particular workflow? So is it like X-ray, like if I was to run back to the office and say, what can we do for Dr. Tack in this space? Not that it wouldn't be for everybody, but is it really just kind of tying the ordering and the problems together so that you're not
ordering and the diagnosis together?
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a step that we can't circumvent. But if it's already pre-propagated, I'll just have to click on the thing.
It should be reason for visit, right? I mean, does it tend to be the same tie through? Anyway, I'm solving your problem. I'm trying to solve problems while we're here talking. So.
Yeah. So I mean, there's certain ordering of certain tests that probably one or two diagnoses is 99%.
Yeah. So what would you say to another physician or practice that was considering moving to SEC from Athena or eClinicalWorks or something else? Like, what would you recommend it? Would you say, but be aware of this? Like, what would your recommendation to another practice be?
I would recommend that it is worth the effort. Epic is robust, is ubiquitous. The fact that most all academia institutions have Epic should tell you that it is a robust system. And for individual physicians or in small groups of physicians to be able to jump on that bandwagon is I think, a no-brainer. You should do it. I think you have to be patient and understand that there are processes that will test your patience, but I think it's well worth it. There's no way that I would go back to a non-Epic system. And I heard Dignity is changing to Epic. I can see why, because they're isolated, right? They don't have the interop as well as the ability to see each other. You're really seeing the other practitioners and other institutions virtually through the transfer of information. And I know there are some small groups out here who don't have Epic, and yeah, they're not visible to
Right.
me.
Yeah, it's
And-
hard. It's hard, and just so you know, Adventist is moving as well. I don't know that there's an Adventist hospital here in town, but so Dignity and Adventist are moving over to Epic. So with the at least community and Greater Sacramento area, will have every at least acute facility on Epic. So, well, Dr. Tech, that's the end of my questions. Anything else you want to share or say about any of this stuff?
No, when Trina asked me to do this, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
I'll do it for you because she's been so loyal and so helpful to our practice, and I know she's the same for many others. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
no,
appreciate it.
okay,
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Okay.
And now you have my number.
yeah.